The Sun is the purest body in the solar system, and it's composed of 93% of hydrogen atoms, which is the simplest form of matter known. It is also in a process of constant purification in which cooler and darker masses known as sunspots rise to the surface. The formation of sunspots is on a remarkably regular 11-year cycle during which the intensity and number of sunspots steadily increases. In the period between the purging cycles, the Sun is completely free of sunspots for many months at a time. We are now in a solar cycle 25, which peak sunspot activity expected in 2025. So it makes sense that so many people are talking about solar activity during this time, and so many people are feeling quite intense energy. Right now we're actually in a period that is still going on, and it will be going on towards and into a year 2025, which is also in Chinese calendar known as the Year of the Snake, which is often associated with the shedding of the old skin, as in the year 2025 will begin a new solar cycle, which will bring more renewal and a lot of grounding of new systems and technology. So right now we are in a quite intense period when it comes to solar activity and all the energies that are serving highest possible transformation and progress. There's actually a science called heliobiology, the study of the effects of solar radiation on living organisms, explores potential connection between solar activity, such as solar flares, and human health. Historically, research has been conducted to link the 11-year cycle of the Sun to changes in human behaviors and society. And there's most famous research that has been done by Professor L.A. Tikhetsky, a Russian scientist who presented a paper to American Meteorological Society at Philadelphia in the late 19th century. He prepared a study of the history of mass human movement compared to the solar cycle, beginning with the division of the solar cycle into 4 parts. The first one was minimum sunspot activity, then the second one was increasing sunspot activity, the third one was maximum sunspot activity, and the fourth one, decreasing sunspot activity. We are right now in the third one, maximum sunspot activity, and in the year 2025, towards, somewhere in the middle, towards the end of the year, we'll go into decreasing sunspot activity. And what he found out was quite interesting. Firstly, he divided up the agitation and mass human movement into 5 phases. The first phase was provoking influence of leaders upon masses. Then the second one was the exiting effect of emphasized ideas upon the masses. The third one was the velocity of incitability due to the presence of a single psychic center. The fourth one was the extensive areas covered by mass movements, and the fifth one was the integration and individualization of the masses. That's what he was exploring. So by these comparisons, he constructed an index of mass human excitability, covering each year from 500 BC to 1922 AD. He investigated the histories of 72 countries in that period, noting signs of human unrest such as wars, revolution, riots, expeditions, and migrations, plus the number of humans evolved. Tikhetsky found that fully 80% of most significant events occurred during the years of maximum sunspot activity. He maintained that the exciting period may be explained by an acute change in the nervous and psychic character of humanity, which takes place at some spot maxima. Which is quite interesting because as we look around the world right now, we may notice that so much is happening just at this time. So many new movements are happening, so much of chaos, wars are happening. If we look at the world of celebrity, so much of truth is coming out. And in science, a great revolution is happening in the connection between metaphysical philosophies and new scientific discoveries in quantum physics and so on. It's just a great revolution that's happening. So Tikievsky discovered that the solar minimum is the lag period when repression is tolerated by the masses as if they lacked the vital energy to make the needed changes. He found that during the sunspot maximum, the movement of humans is also at its peak, like right now. Also, psychiatrists have noticed a correlation between geomagnetic activity, like right now, and suicide rates. A review of 13 years of South African data on suicides and magnetic storms in South African Psychiatry Review, Volume 6, p24, suggested a link that geomagnetic storms, periods of high geomagnetic activity caused by large solar flares, have also been linked to clinical depression. While the mechanisms behind this stimulation of human behavior for science is still in a constant research, many are now accepting that humanity is receiving the highest support from consciousness of the cosmos, allowing us to wake up to our magnificence and divine connection to each other and the universe. The sun is only assisting in this inevitable process. So while psychiatrists have found out that when the sun's activity is the most potent, there's the most depression present, we shouldn't be afraid of this. So the reason that there's the most depression present is that all our dark, suppressed emotions and energies stored in our nervous system come to the surface. It's like the sun is going through this consistent process of purification as it goes through this 11-year-old cycle. We are going through this same process. We start to experience our darkest spots, our darkest emotions, when these activities are the most active. So it's quite natural that during this time we just feel more need to do the shadow work, to do some emotional healing, to have some deep, profound meditative experiences, and to create some new, meaningful connections in our relationships, to experience progress, healing, and clarity. So it's not something we should be afraid. It's something we should pay more attention to recognize what kind of versions of ourselves we truly want to bring into the future. To recognize that your mind matter, and your mind literally becomes matter. As ancient alchemists described it as each thought is already a thing in the brain. So when you decide who you want to become, and you recognize what is holding you back, then it's only up on you to notice how clear you can see who you're intending to become and how much you're practicing truly becoming it. And whatever you notice that's holding you back, like a limiting belief or a certain emotional trigger or reaction, is something you need to heal in order to get yourself into the future as the you that you truly want to be. I also want to give you some signs you can recognize that you may actually be affected by these energies and what to do about them. So the interesting fact about this energy is that since it is of a higher frequency, it creates a power of faster manifestation of our thoughts, which means whatever we think, we create much faster. That is why many people are writing right now books on subjects like the power of the mind and manifestation. And there's like the topic of manifestation became very viral in the recent years. I'm sure you've noticed that. So photonic energy connects directly to our thoughts. So it's essential to clearly define what you want instead of focusing on what you don't want. To harness this energy, practice setting intentions daily. Like when you wake up, sit down, notice what you can be grateful for, and then set an intention for the day. I just like to have around 30 minutes to 1 hour for meditation to tap into higher frequency and to make sure I can integrate more of it into my body every single day. That's something I do. So when you're doing things like that, you don't need to sit for 1 hour, but at least be more intentional. Be more intentional what you want to achieve with what you're doing, what kind of energy you want to bring into the world, and maybe just how you want to influence others today, like what kind of energy you want to touch others. Because when you're doing this keeps your mind aligned with your goals. If you're in a phase of change and growth, photonic energy can amplify your progress. To make it work for you, embrace this transformation that's happening right now with gratitude and focus. I'm seeing you in the comments every single day, and please write down in the comment section what works for you the most to stay in gratitude, to stay in this state of a creator. Because I know so many of you are practicing something that works for you, and when you write it down, you actually inspire others to do something similar. So many people are in this very transformative phase. You may notice that in this phase right now, when you focus on something you want, things start manifesting very, very fast. I've received so many messages, people writing like, hey, I've started doing what you're talking about, and things started shifting so fast. All these synchronicities and everything started happening very, very fast. But however, if you're stuck in negative emotions like anger or victimhood, you may find that the same energy reinforces those feelings, making it harder to move forward. So, my friend, take practical steps like journaling, mindfulness, or therapy to release past pain, which allows this energy to support your growth rather than keep you stuck. It's just something that will help you so much. Like, I'm journaling every single day. I want to find clarity if there's something unclear. But I've noticed that the most powerful thing for me is meditation. When I tap into a state of nothingness, like in the 90s, one neuroscientist found out that when a person focuses on the empty space, like for example the space between your left ear or your right ear, or the space between the wall on the left and the wall on the right, just paying attention to the space, your brain naturally goes into an alpha brainwave frequency, which harmonizes all different parts of your brain. And if you stay aware of the empty space, it will go even into more coherent state like theta brainwave frequency, which is a state of hypnosis. In this state, thought becomes more real than external world. And in this state, if you start, for example, visualizing something, or just focusing maybe on God or universal power or love, you start feeling it. It becomes real inside of your body. And that's how you start attracting towards you more of this kind of energy. It's a very powerful practice. Actually, in Romans 12:2, it's been said that do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is something very powerful. And in Matthew 16:25, it's been said, for whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. Which basically means that when you let go of your habitual self and focus on the nothingness, where you actually focus on this universal energy that gives life to things, you focus on the quantum field, the field of life, you lose the habitual self, but you find the universal self. You find the bigger self, the higher self. And when you surrender to it, you experience a guidance from it. And it's something very, very powerful. So if we return back to this solar activity, there is some Russian research that shows an increase in cardiac problems during sunspot maxima. The solar activity probably sets off a pre-existing condition, and no one is suggesting that people will drop dead in the streets, obviously, but it still affects us some way. We could see the stress of solar activity on the biology of living things as an evolutionary agent, weeding out the old and sick and strengthening the old and sick, and strengthening those who can resonate with its radiation. That's why mindfulness is so important, and maybe sun gazing if you're into it, like going into the nature and reconnecting with the nature, can help you to reconnect with this natural activity. Once again, I don't want to awaken fear in you, like you will just feel more stressed or there will something be wrong with your nervous system or heart. It's just recognizing that your body is actually naturally taking you towards remedies if you listen to it. Like for the food, for example, think about colors. Like when you think about food, ask your body, what color does it crave the most right now? Or if you will, if you close your eyes, if you see maybe certain vegetable or certain thing that your body craves the most, you will notice your body has its natural intuitive ability to take you to where you need to go. And it's quite powerful when you start listening to your body's rhythm. So there are 6 signs that people usually experience during these intense solar activities, according to these researchers. And one is that people are not sleeping well. So obviously not sleeping well is connected to more things like maybe bad diet or eating too late or unbalanced sleeping cycles and so on, but also due to solar activity. So let's say we manage all of these things, like not eating 2 or 3 hours before going to sleep. We manage to go into bed at similar times every single day, waking up at a similar time every single day to balance our sleeping rhythms. We may still recognize that there are certain days where these solar activities are more potent and we may not be sleeping well, or we may have more intense dreams. So it's just a reminder that, well, nature is taking care of purification, and when it happens, sometimes it happens to me, and what I do, I take time and meditate, or I pray, or I visualize my, future, to use these higher energies for a certain type of benefit. Then the second sign is that you may be just feeling more agitated and irritated. Or maybe you notice people around you are feeling more like that. I've noticed that people who are really working on their health right now are quite thriving. I've met so many people who are thriving a lot right now, but many of them are saying, yeah, my family members, they are more and more agitated, more and more irritated, or my co-workers are having quite some trouble with stress and irritation, and it may be due to solar activity right now. So be patient with them and wish them well. Just wish them well, and as I said, be intentional. If you have a solution for someone who's willing to listen, well, go and help someone. It's also a time that you've most probably noticed that more and more people are waking up and tapping into their inner wisdom and finding solutions in mindfulness and therapy, and adapting their mindset to, let's say, highest possible health, which also helps them to deal with their emotional baggage with more compassion and kindness. Those people are thriving a lot, and those people may feel even more creative during this time. So these energies, as much as they may be challenging when we have trouble somewhere, they're also very supportive if we're willing to work with them. Then the third sign is that it may be hard to relax for some people. If that's you, just be patient with yourself and spend more time in nature, maybe grounding, some barefoot walking around. It's something very helpful. Or go into a forest, like how they call it, forest bath, right? Go into a forest and just reconnect with nature to get some of these negative ions and breathe deeply. And yeah, just reconnect. The fourth sign is that there's a bit heavy energy. So you may feel under a sense of pressure. And if that's you, once again, spend more time in nature and have deep conversations with others, and notice if there's something that you feel intuitively you should start doing. Like in yesterday's video and in many of my videos, I talk about this inner calling, inner guidance that may awaken in all of us at some point. More we choose ourselves over everything else, our own progress and evolution and spiritual health, more we start to connect with this inner sense, the sense of truth, the sense of guidance that starts taking us to where we truly are meant to go. So listen to it. And the fifth sign is that you feel more negatively oriented than usually. So there may be more negative thoughts, more negative emotions. And because it's happening in rhythms, it's like one day you're feeling so well, and then the third day you're feeling so irritated and so negative, and then the next day you're feeling well once again. So there's like many mood shifts, many mental, psychological shifts that are happening during this time. Look at it as when you feel negatively, it's a great time for reflection, for journaling, for introspection, and notice what parts of you you're still ignoring, denying, or suppressing, and just feel yourself. I found out for myself that when I feel potent negative emotions, I just need to sit with myself and feel them. Feel them and love myself anyway. Like if I will feel an intense sense of fear, I will imagine myself being afraid, and I will like hug myself and love myself feeling this anyway, because I think many of us in childhood have been programmed that we need to be a certain way to experience love and attention from others. So we've started to believe that if we are not getting love and attention from others, there's most probably something wrong with us. And then when we feel fear, sadness, or shame, or guilt, or whatever, we think there's something wrong with us, and therefore we will not experience love and attention. So that's the main time when you should give love and attention to you and recognize there's nothing wrong with you. You're already enough and you're divinely perfect as you are. So love yourself. And the sixth sign is that you may experience more brain fog and kind of like not feeling grounded. If that's happening to you, I would suggest to do some breathing practices and fasting. Fasting is so powerful. Yesterday I've just finished my 3-day food fasting, and I've experienced such an incredible clarity in my mind, especially the third day. Like I just wanted to keep up with it. So I've decided I will do these kind of fastings more frequently, like maybe once a month, because it's so wonderful what kind of clarity you experience. It's like your brain would go through an incredible cleansing, and after it, you're just more pure. I felt more grounded, I felt more connected with myself, my energy became more fluid, and it's just something I would suggest to you. Maybe read something about it, read a book about fasting or something like that, that will help you to understand the process better, and then give it a try. Especially right now when these activities are more intense, it's, a perfect time to do some healing, cleansing, and reconnection. We're also just entering we have just entered into a new season where it's a great time to shift your diet a little bit, maybe eat a little bit less, and be even more connected with yourself. So my friends, I hope you found a great value in today's video, and I hope you've enjoyed in today's painting called The Sun. It's a painting I've done I think in 2021 or maybe 22. One day I saw it in the meditation and I wanted to paint it, so that's how I make all of my art. And if any of it resonates with you, maybe it's a sign that you need it at your home. Each painting brings a unique energy to it. Every time I see a painting in my meditation, I bring it to fruition here on this third dimensional level, and it always becomes helpful for someone. So let's check it out on our store at AttractPassion.com. You can find all of my art, and let's see if any of it resonates with you. Also, let me know which one resonates with you the most. I'm curious to know. So thank you so much for watching. Give a comment down below what resonated with you the most, or what you're going through right now, or what you're feeling the most during this potent time. And also thanks to everyone for joining our Patreon community for more exclusive content, guided meditations, and Q&As and all kinds of things, community chat, everything. The link is in the description of this video. My friends, stay connected, stay beautiful, and till next time, one love.